Chorus Voices, the podcast brought to you by Chorus, a fresh approach to community service. Settle in, listen in, and enjoy the voices who bring you reflections, musings, and stories from our community.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Chorus Voices. I'm CEO Dan Minchin.
And I'm Head of Brand and People, Lou Forster.
So hi Lou, today we are having a really fascinating conversation and really an exploration of a special place in the Chorus world, which is a place down at Mandurah Terrace in Mandurah where we have a number of mental health and recovery type services operating. But more recently we've created a really flexible open space with a lot of arts and food preparation and that sort of activity going on where people can come and do whatever it is they want to do.
Yeah, I was down there relatively recently and hadn't brought my lunch, and there was lunch happening and I got invited into the space and shared lunch and a conversation with a staff member, a couple of customers and a daughter of a customer. So that was a great opportunity to see what actually happens in that space.
Well, it's not surprising that you scored some lunch down there, Lou. It's a very welcoming place, and that's what they've been able to create. It's one of those spaces which we've created that enables people to feel safe and secure, particularly to feel included and welcome, and then all really built around some activities like music and arts and food and that sort of thing. So I spent a day down there and had a chat with a couple of really interesting people. The first is Peta, who's a customer, comes along to Chorus and the art space, and she's going to tell you a little bit about her story and her journey. When I was talking to Peta, we were in the room with Teresa, who's a support worker who works closely with Peta. And then a little bit later I had a chat with Kim, who's the manager down there, and she can tell us a little bit about how the program works and how the space works and why it works.
About 3 months ago, I think, I was referred to the mental side of Chorus, and since then it's just been opening doors that I never knew were there. The lady called Teresa, I've been with her for about 6 weeks, I think. Bit by bit we started talking about individual things, what she had to offer as the service. And then I just got into a lot of questions, heaps of questions. Asked her as we discussed, what I would like to achieve being through the service, what my goals were. I asked her certain questions, if I could get there with them helping me.
What sort of goals?
Just how to deal with certain things, different coping strategies, how to go about finding me, because I'd lost my way for a while, how to be a better person, how to be this person that I like in the mornings when I wake up, and be happy with the person that I am going to sleep at night. And I think over time, I'm building up trust, which is another big issue I'm trying to deal with. Start to believe in me as a person, trying to rebuild my confidence in myself and put the welcome mat outside my front door for other people to let them in, because I know it takes a lot of hard work from me, but you can't do it by yourself, and you've got to be open to help and guidance.
So if you think about the space you've tried to create for the people of Mandurah, how would you describe it?
It's been a staff-driven thing, and lots of conversation around what they think will work, and them talking to customers about what the customers want. Because obviously in mental health, some customers are more willing to be in groups or pairs, and some absolutely won't. I think it then gives them sort of space and scope. They feel that this is their area too. Well,
and they know the customers, right? So they do respond to that.
Yeah, and I mean we've had some challenges. The way it started out, I set some boundaries around it. Wednesday mornings from this time till this time, and over a couple of months that sort of blew out, and it ended up being a whole day thing. But then I found that was causing issues as well. So what I've done now is bring bring it back. That's for a group setting. So the room is open, it's flexible, people want to come in of their own accord. The room's open to them to sit in there and do what they want to do. So we've got, I think, maybe 4 trestle tables all pushed together and with some brown paper over the top. We've got a lot of different art supplies that have been donated and now that we've purchased. So lots of ideas, people can come in and just create stuff.
So we're in the art space.
Yeah.
Andrew, right now.
Oh, it's brand new to me.
This is your first day.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Well, we had one guy here. He came and he mixed some paints and a little bit of glitter, and then he mixed it in a cup, and then put the paper on the cup and turned the cup upside down, and just let the paint run all over the paper. And I can't believe what I did, trying it for the first time. I've always said I'm not an arty person, but I've never really sat down and given it a try, or been open to trying it.
That's huge, and you were showing it to me before.
And I just discovered a new me today. Even just holding a textile or a pencil and just letting it glide over the paper, just the feeling of being free, and for me that's brand new. Playing with clay, gripping it really hard, making a fist in my hand, has taught me that I can let go of things like this, working with the clay. It's a brand new experience. And it's just nice having the opportunity with Chorus to explore all this that I never had the chance to do before.
So when you first met Teresa, was that at your place?
Yes.
And you just started chatting about what you might achieve, so it was just a really
it was just
simple conversation, yeah?
Yeah, that's all it started with. And me just talking about my goals in general. What do my goals look like? And I told her, I said I don't know how to achieve them because I've never had anyone guide me. Because I haven't been in Mandurah that long, I don't know what's available. Not having a car, you can't get to places, let alone learn about them. How do you get there? So if you don't know and you're not linked in with somebody, you don't have those opportunities. So that's why I speak so highly of Chorus, because they open doors.
Do you see Teresa every day or every few days?
Well, it's been mixed at the moment. I think it's just been a slow process over the weeks. Today's been the first 4 full hours that I'm allocated. We've just broken them up just slowly over the last few weeks. But that's the way I wanted it in the first place. I didn't want full on. Just get to know her as a person, she gets to know me as a person, and try and work together. And that's what I always wanted. Not them do everything for me. It's got to work as a team. There's no I in team.
Why is that so important to you? That she's not doing everything for you?
Well, for me, independence and having choice. They're big words. They're big statements. And I think it's a big mental message to everybody that you have a voice. If you don't like something that somebody's offering you, it's okay to say no. Don't be scared to put forward what you would like. It doesn't always have to be what other people want. It can also be what you want, but that just comes from confidence and trust. And to me, they're big 2 words too. Because with any mental illness, that goes out the window. And it's a real struggle to find that again. And then when you do find it, and you find that trust in those people, you don't let them go. You've got to want to do some work yourself. It's like an investment. You've got to invest in yourself because they invest in you.
So what do you reckon might be what you're hoping to do tomorrow and next week?
Well, I know what I'm going to do and leave here today.
Yeah, what's that?
I'm going to reward myself for 4 hours of hard work. I I'm going to put my lard ass on my lounge. I'm going to put my feet up and do nothing. I think everybody needs to do that. Give yourself a pat on the back and reward yourself for your hard work in your mental progress, because it's not easy.
So it's been a big day. Like you feel like it's been
I just learned so much about me as this new person I'm creating. This person that's got rid of all this baggage. I've carried it around for too long. I've got so much fresh air in my head now that I've got room to learn all this stuff that I never had the chance. So the opportunity's there for me. I'm sure it's there for other people.
Well, that's so great to hear, Peter, that you feel like you've...
That's just me talking honestly, mate. You didn't prompt me in any way, but that's my journey. And I want everyone to hear my journey, because I think it can be an inspiration from where I came from to this new person. It does. It takes a lot of commitment and it takes a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
And it's an everyday challenge. I'm
Big day, it's been.
determined.
Yeah.
It's not going to do this anymore.
I can see how you say it's a big challenge, it's hard work, I can see that.
But I know I'm not the only person with a mental health issue that has this battle. It is. Every day is a battle, mentally. And it can drain you.
Overwhelmed, yeah.
It can drain you physically as well, and emotionally. It's a hard road. And you can stick it up all the knockers out there that say you can't. Show me you can. If I can do it, anyone can.
You'll come back to the art space here?
Yeah.
What a discovery, hey?
That's what I said, just all these doors that are opening now. I just want other people out there that've got the chance.
Yeah.
Take it, run with it, and they'll discover something inside them they never knew they had.
At the moment we've got a magnificent piece. It's paint, but it's layered and it's thick and it's chunky, and we've got butterflies on there that raised, and yeah.
So who did that work?
That was done by a customer called Gabby.
So
Yeah.
did Gabby kind of really embrace the art space?
She has done some amazing things. So we had somebody brought in some x-rays, and she ended up creating artwork out of actual human x-rays. Yeah. So she's done some phenomenal pieces.
So what do you think that's meant for her?
Gabby is very isolated in her life, but what happens on a Wednesday for her is, so she will work, she's got a particular spot where she sits and she works from, but if you're walking past, she actually is engaging with other people and talking with them. There might not be a lot of eye contact or things like that, but she's giggling and engaging with other people. I think it's enabled her to have a different experience maybe that she hasn't had before, and definitely connecting with others. I've watched Gabby over the last probably 6 months actually come out of her shell more. Actually, she came a couple of weeks ago and actually came into my office, which never happened. So she's walked the corridor and actually have a conversation with me about a change in her support worker.
That's a big step.
A big step, yeah.
And it doesn't look very structured here. You've got some times when it's on and times when it's not.
So initially it was structured, and staff had sort of set out a plan for, say, the next month about, this is what we're going to do this week and this is what we're going to do next week. And it sort of developed itself, it's morphed into this space where people can come in and explore different ideas that they might have, or that they've heard somebody else have, or somebody suggested to them. And I think it's exciting, rather than having structure and being told this is what you're going to do this week. So you've got options.
Yeah, but what? So what's the point of that? Why is that important?
It challenges people to think outside the box. And a lot of these customers, if you think about their daily life, they're being told where they need to be, who they need to see at what time, and this is a choice. This is a choice. So I think that's a really big positive.
And what do you think it means for yourself and other people working here, but yourself to work in an environment like this?
Well, I absolutely love this environment. I feel lucky to be able to come in here every day.
So I loved hearing that story, and it never ceases to amaze me the journey people go on to, find recovery or continue that recovery journey.
And even getting started on it, I thought that was what was so sort of powerful about what Peta was saying. Is that, it's obviously a really, really big step just to, as she sort of talked about, opening the door.
Yeah, letting people in and walking alongside people. And that really reminded me of Anthony, our colleague down in Albany, who's a peer support worker. He talked to me over a year ago when I went down there about walking on the journey side by side, and saying that, as someone that's been on that journey, there's bumps in the road. So if you're in a low bit or a slump, he can say, yeah, they happen, and keep on walking, there will be an upturn.
And I think there's a lesson in that for all of us, wherever we sit on the mental health sort of continuum, and with those around us. The instinct might be to get in and help and try and take control of people's lives, and of course that's never going to work. And what I think we do at Chorus, along with many other organisations who work in this space, is a remarkable job of helping people find their own path. And we've heard a really good one today. We've talked previously in other episodes. There was episode 17 where we shone a light on mental health and the role of the mental health worker, which is what Tony's talked about in your example then. When we met Lex, who uses the sort of arts and so on as a way of, to begin with, Lex couldn't even get out the door. And then the real progress and the journey was to move to the car and then the street and then eventually to be out and getting involved.
And I saw Lex at a Christmas celebration that we had at the end of 2019, so that was fantastic.
We talk a lot at Chorus about recovery. That's the big word, and it's to signal that this is not a permanent condition and that there's some light at the end of the tunnel or whatever. It's one of the challenges with the way the system is evolving and significant use of the NDIS, the Disability Insurance Scheme, around mental health, is that the assumption in that scheme is that this is a permanent condition, and people living with mental illness are sort of being pointed towards the NDIS as a path for them. But if they're on a recovery path, that's very difficult. So it's just one of those things happening in the background that people might be interested in knowing can make life a little bit difficult. And it's really going back to that philosophy of recovery, which, as our colleague Jerry says in episode 10, that the philosophy for mental health services is that people can and do recover from mental illness.
I think it's a challenge for us as an organisation because we really want to move away from that service land, as it's often referred to, and being driven by funders' way of looking at the world, because we enable people to live the life they choose, and that's definitely around recovery. So yes, it's a hard one for us to grapple with, I think, but our mental health programs show that we have had some great success doing that.
So there's a story for today from Peta and her journey and her involvement at the Chorus Centre down in Mandurah, and it's been a really moving experience. It was a very intense conversation that I had with her. I sort of remember it really vividly. It's really moved me.
And for any of those listeners that would like to listen to the podcast about Lex, I think that's a really interesting story that goes well with Peter's. So that was episode 24 with an unusual title, A Very Merry Unbirthday to You.
Good one. Okay, well, thank you, Lou.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks for listening to Chorus Voices, the podcast brought to you by Chorus. If you like our show and wanted to know more, check out our website at chorus.org.au. And please leave a review. We'd love to hear your feedback, and it helps others find us and enjoy the podcast as well. Join us next time for more inspiring stories and news from our community. Chorus, a fresh approach to community service.